Thank you for joining us and welcome to the webinar. My name is Kimberly Tucker and I'm pictured on here first on screen. I'm your Director of Marketing at DSD and I have the privilege of being your host today, which means I will be here to monitor the chat for any questions or needs that arise. And then we'll address them with the team in our Q&A session quickly at the end. So please feel free to use that area of GoToWebinar, and I will be on the questions as soon as they come through, hopefully. But also with us, we have Jim Woodhead, who's a principal Sage consultant on our team with over 30 years time at DSD, and Eric Anderson, who is our director of the Sage consulting team. So a lot of powerful Sage experience between the two that you're going to hear from today. And for the agenda, we have reasons the cloud matters, an actual overview of the Sage Partner Cloud product and where it's come to today, a demo of the product, which is the best part for sure, and then the interactive Q&A, which actually is a huge value for you attending live. So please definitely reach out and use that Q box so that we can have the most meaningful session there at the end. And with that, we will have Eric.
Thanks, Kimberly. So I've been on the other side of plenty of these webinars, and I know we all like to get to the demo, but it's helpful to understand at a high level what Sage Partner Cloud is and how it works. So let me just set the stage for a couple of minutes here. First of all, this is our DSD slide. We've been around for a while. We've got a lot of clients, a lot of experience in the channel. We have a team of 15 senior Sage 100 consultants. So it's the largest Sage 100 consulting team around. And if we go to the next slide here, we just want to point out that we have been recognized by Sage as the #1 partner in Sage Partner Cloud migrations. And we do use the acronym SPC quite a bit for Sage Partner Cloud. So if I slip in an SPC here or there, you'll know what I'm talking about. So let's talk about why cloud matters. If we go to the next slide here. There's a couple of buckets that our clients are typically focused on. One is security, which we'll dive deeper into. We all know that the workforce today is much more remote than it was maybe 5 or 10 years ago. Cost is an issue to minimize the overhead and the hardware costs. Compliancy is another big part of it. Scalability, things have changed over the last 10 years or so to where these applications, we're storing a lot more data. So to be able to put that in the cloud with a virtual machine that's easily scalable is very helpful. And if we go to the next slide, we'll talk specifically about Sage Partner Cloud. We can go one more slide here. So Sage Partner Cloud it's Sage 100 installed on a virtual machine in Microsoft Azure. As we mentioned, we have the most migrations. We've got over 70 clients running Sage 100 on Sage Partner Cloud, and we just started this a little over 3 years ago, I believe. So it's been scaling up pretty quick. The migration is painless. It's similar to going through a Sage 100 upgrade, where we're just moving to a new server. We're just doing upgrade, and the new application is installed on the new server. The difference is we have direct access to that server as the hosting provider, and the server's been optimized to run Sage 100. And you, as the customer, as the client, you've kind of got one throat to choke for the hosting and Sage 100 support and services, and that's our throat at DSD. So we own it all. And let's move on to some of the benefits. We'll get a little bit more granular with some of these benefits on the upcoming slides, but time savings is a big one. The Sage helps us provision. Part of Sage Partner Cloud is there's a provisioning process where they help configure the Azure virtual machine. It usually just takes a few hours to get that key infrastructure in place, up and running, and then we can immediately start working on the actual migration of Sage 100. Cost effectiveness, this is not a new ERP implementation. It's just like any other upgrade or migration to another server. So there's a huge cost savings when compared to moving to a completely new ERP application. Security and flexibility, again, we'll dive deeper into that. So we'll talk about backups, yeah. So You can see the backup policy that gets provisioned when we spin up the machines. There's daily backups retained for 7 days, weekly retained for 5 weeks, monthly retained for 3 months, and yearly retained for 1 year. So we can restore the entire server from a backup. It's easy to do with Microsoft Azure. Or there's also a nice utility where if you just want one file or one folder, we can get to that detail as well and just restore specific files and folders. The backup type is Cloud GRS, which means it's geo-redundant. So that's another benefit. Okay, let's move on to security. So we do get this question about security, and this is Microsoft Azure. So they're spending over $1 billion every year on upgrades and security. We have an average of 3 to 4 customers each year that come to us. They have local servers that are completely shut down by ransomware. And when this happens, if you're not familiar with it, you have to pay a large fee, typically tens of thousands. We've seen some closer to the 100,000 range. And that's just to unlock the files on your server. And it's not even a guarantee that you're back in business after that. So we have had several clients come to us in those situations where we've moved them to Sage Partner Cloud. We've never had security issues or any type of ransomware inside of Microsoft Azure. And another nice security feature with Sage Partner Cloud is multi-factor authentication. They've always had that, but it was an option before, and now it is required, which we think is a great thing, a great improvement to make sure that everybody's using MFA, so we have that extra layer of authentication. So how do I run Sage 100? This is the best part of it, and this is what Jim is going to demo and show you. It looks and feels the same. Most of our clients are running it as a desktop app, and you'll get a real close look of how that looks. But you could also run it on a Mac in browser mode. You can run it in virtual machine mode, so it's more like you're logging onto a server. So there's options as to how you run it. But again, most users just like the desktop app, and that's exactly kind of the look and feel of how you're using Sage 100 right now. And the next slide's about internet bandwidth. So we always recommend that our clients test this link first. This just tells us the speed of your internet connecting to these different Microsoft Azure regions. And the regions that we work with are the West US 2, the one that's highlighted, and then East US as well. So if you run this link and you're seeing something in the green, like in this picture, that's great. You're not going to have issues with speed. So it is the speed of Sage 100 in Microsoft Azure is going to be dependent on your internet bandwidth and how you connect to these regions. So that's important to understand. Okay, so what if I need to add more users or server resources? So this is one of the really nice things about Sage Partner Cloud and Microsoft Azure is just the flexibility. It takes minutes to increase memory, add CPUs, increase hard drive. We just make the change, we reboot the server, and it's pretty much done. So if you need to scale up, if you need to scale down, that's easily done with Sage Partner Cloud. And let's go to the next slide. So how can Sage Partner Cloud be a part of our long-term business strategy? I think the key word here is flexibility. So you have accessibility from anywhere. You've got scalability, like we just talked about, scaling that server up or down, adaptability. So as your business grows, it's very easy to adapt, and we have this flexible platform that can grow with your business. And let's go to the next slide. Over the years, as our experience and knowledge with Sage Partner Cloud has increased, we've been able to support more and more enhancements, add-ons, integrations. So some examples would be shopping cart integration, ROI and Sync and SimCloud, scanning solutions like ScanForce, credit card processing, EDI, AP automation, Starship shipping, Sage Intelligence, Sage Fixed Assets, the list goes on and on. So if you're curious, if you have integrations or third-party add-ons that you're curious if they'll work in Sage Partner Cloud, just let us know and we'll let you know if those are compatible. And then the final slide here is just some of our clients that have made the switch. So Leslie and Campbell was a commercial roofing contractor in Washington, hosting Sage 100 and Sage HRMS. So that's another thing. On top of fixed assets, we've got some hosting HRMS as well. They were really looking for remote access. That was their, I would say, value point. Drexel Supplies, roof and floor metal decking distributor in Colorado. And they were really looking for better security. They wanted something that was really locked down where they didn't have to worry about any type of ransomware being hacked or anything like that. And then Davis Wholesale is a salt distributor with locations in Idaho and Indiana. And for them, it was kind of about the scale, multiple locations, people working remotely and in multiple offices. So they were really about that flexibility that we talked about, being able to add more resources. They've been able to add a lot of users. They also use Sage Intelligence, so they're running consolidated reports across multiple entities, all inside of Sage Partner Cloud. And so with that, I think we're ready to turn it over to Jim for the live demo.
I'm going to give you a little demo of Sage 100 Partner Cloud. You guys can see my blue screen, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so what happens is the way Sage 100 works, Sage 100 SPC, is we go through the cloud, go through the internet. We recommend that you use Microsoft Edge. That gives the best performance. If you're running on a Mac or something else, you can run it in a different browser, but you do not get the same experience as a published app. So what we do is you go out to the Sage Partner Cloud, which is Sage 100 NA, sagepartnercloud.com. Now, my recommendation is if you go out to this website, you can add it as a icon on your desktop. So you can type in the website and click on this triple dot here and go down to apps, and then it'll show you, if you haven't installed it, you can show to install it, and you can just click install, and that will create an icon to automatically open up the screen. So if you had Sage 100, you would see it on you would see an icon to go in. So once you log in, I'm going to go ahead and log out here. I'm going to log out and log back in here. So when you log in, you come up with your MFA or your login here. Now, this is logging into the Sage website right here. And what happens is Sage issues you a Sage ID, and it's tied to your email address. So what happens is you type in your email and your password, and then it will immediately go out and hit you with a MFA, a multi-factor notification. I'm going to go ahead and do that. It uses multiple ones. If you want to use a text, you can use Google, you can use Microsoft Authenticator, and once you go in, you click in and it takes you right into the system. Now, if you, I have multiple companies tied into this number, but normally you would just go, you would pop up with your site. Also, notice here you have Windows mode or browser mode. So when you're in Microsoft Edge, you get Windows mode, which provides with a desktop, a published app. If you go to browser mode, it opens up a black window and everything happens in that one window. So we're going to go ahead and stay in Windows mode. The other benefit of being in Windows mode is it will see your local computer. So when you go into Sage, you'll actually be able to pull things from your local computer and pull things in. You can do it through browser mode, but you have to do a cut and paste through a temporary storage. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Sage 100 here, and you'll click on the icon. It'll ask you to open up, and it'll pop up with a little starting window to get in the system. This will pop up, and if you click that box there, it won't ask you that again. So now what's happening, it's just using kind of an RDP backend, and it's opening up in the back, and you'll see it pop open. One thing in regards to printing, it does use the redirected printers, but we've found that using a product called TS Print speeds up the printing. So we recommend that you purchase a copy of TS Print along with it. So as you can see, Sage 100 has popped up. It shows up as a desktop app. I can move it around to multiple monitors. So it supports multi-monitors. I can go into the system and go to the, for example, general ledger, pops up with the date. And it's just as if I had it on the screen. So I can go in and do accounts. I can actually, if you noticed here, I have the capability to export out to Excel if you want here. So you can export out to Excel. You can go into it, and it's very fast to be able to look at it. You can click on it, and to show you, you can actually click on the Excel button, and we load Office Excel on there, so you can save it out here. Now, when you save it, you're going to be able to save it to your computer. You can save it to anywhere that you're logged into to get out. So you have that capability. So going back in, I'm going to close this back and cancel out of here. I don't know if you can see my icons at the bottom, but I can see Sage 100 here. I can go back to my menu. And for example, I want to go into the sales order module, and you can go to sales order, opens up the sales order screen. I can go to sales order, click one. I have my full look of my customers, bring this up and lines, and type in lines, do my lookups and stuff like that. It does support emails. So if you want to export out, use your cloud SMTP, it does support Office 365 to be able to push things out, just like standard Sage. So that's great. And that works. Now, one of the cool things that I like about this SPC is that it supports our InstaDocs program. So if you have the need to be able to track document management, you can go into a vendor, for example. This is using our InstaDocs, so I can have our program up here. Now, the nice thing is you can also open up a screen. This data drive is another window that will actually open up a file explorer. So because we're in the cloud right now, if you were to open up your Windows Explorer on your local machine, you don't see the server directly. So you have to go through the file explorer on the server, and it will see your local drive. So as you can see, I can see my C and my E, which is the server, and I can also see my drive, my local drive. Now, let's say, for example, I have a folder out here, my Z InstaDocs out here. Inside here, I might have some document, this here, and I want to attach that onto my vendor. So I can bring up my vendor screen here, and I can actually drag and drop to this screen. So I can drop and drag right onto it, and it'll bring it in. It'll copy it into the system, and now you have that in the system all indexed. So if you haven't ever seen our InstaDocs program, it's fantastic, and it gives you the full document management capability. So that is my main demo here. Are there any questions?
Actually, at the moment, I don't see too many have come through. Attendees, please definitely use the chat box. I know that Eric answered a few extras or a few top questions, let's say that, frequently asked. But so maybe that helped establish answers early on. But maybe, Jim, you could kind of highlight typical support that you get or something.
Well, the biggest thing is making sure when you add Sage to add it and use it as a published app and use Windows mode. A lot of customers will come in and they'll accidentally use Google or Chrome, if you will, and they'll go into the browser mode. You always want to make sure that you're using the Windows mode because the Windows mode gives you full access. Now, I did show you this screen. I showed you the screen here to come in. When you're saving things, you definitely want to use the data drive to say, let's say, for example, let me go back over here and let me run a report here, for example. So let's go to the general ledger and show you kind of how it publishes out the general ledger. So let me go to the general ledger. We'll go to reports. This is print a trial balance. So I'm going to jump in my trial balance report, pop up, I print that out. Now you can preview or publish or print. If you're using TS Print, you would have the TS Print button here. I do not have TS Print installed on this server. So if I go out and do my preview, I can preview my report. And it'll come up. By the way, we also support Sage Intelligence. So if you want to run Sage Intelligence, you can do that. And because we're running on one server, everybody has the capability to run the Sage Intelligence. So normally with an on-prem license, you have to pay per user, but in Sage Partner Cloud, everybody gets a Sage Intelligence license. So back to my example here, if I want to export something out, I can click here on my export button. I can click on, let's say I want a PDF. And now when I see this, what will happen is I will get popped up with that same screen, but I will see my C and my E, which is the network, but I can also see my local drive. And if I have any mapped drives, for example, this M is a map drive, I can save to that. So I can click on this and I can save it. Now it does take a few minutes. I say minutes, sometimes if you have a lot of data here, it takes time to build it. And my recommendation is to create a folder here at the top that you can open up and use as a kind of a scratch, a folder. So you can go to your SPC transfer and you can save it right into here. And then when you open up your local computer, you'll be able to move that document into any folder you want. One of the other benefits of TS Print is TS Print provides an opportunity to print directly to a PDF. Now, for those Sage 100 users that know, obviously I can preview it here and export it out to a PDF also. But the nice thing about the TS Print PDF option is that it will actually pop open a window and you can either save it to your local disk or have it automatically email. So that's one of the cool features of TS Print. And TS Print is very inexpensive. It's $79 per user. If you have more than 5, you can buy unlimited license for $3.99. There's also a product called TS Scan, which if you're doing scanning, it will see your local scans and save it up to the network for that type of thing. So
TS Print, Jim, just so you understand those numbers, that's not monthly, that's not annual, that's a one-time cost, right?
One-time cost. So let's talk about. Let me do one more thing. In terms of upgrades, we recommend that we upgrade every 2 years, and when we upgrade, we will create a whole new server and bring everything over. So it makes for upgrades very easy to facilitate that and to use that.
We
so
actually
go
had
ahead.
a few questions here, Jim. So actually, maybe in that same spirit of your last statement, the question is, who is responsible for maintenance of the server?
DSD is responsible for the maintenance of the server. So we handle the loading on the updates. We do an update run every month, which loads on all the critical and required patches for Windows. And when you do upgrade, the server gets replaced with the current version. So right now we're running on Data Center 2019, and we handle the management of that. Users, we more or less give you a price for the hosting system. It's not by the user. You do pay your regular Sage license by the user, but we offer that program, and based upon your resources, how many you need, we will give you a price to host the system.
Perfect. So another question is sort of the same spirit. The question is, well, it's stated. So essentially, this would be moving our on-prem Sage 100 from our server to your server, correct? How are updates and upgrades done? Would those be done automatically, or would we need to engage to update and upgrade?
So
it depends.
we have,
Go ahead.
Yeah, we have some options on that. So There's two options. If you're a DSD client, what we normally do is we include an SLA, which includes hosting and support. And then there's two options with that SLA. There's just support, and then there's support plus an upgrade every 2 years, because part of being on Sage Partner Cloud is you are committing to be on one of the latest versions, one of the latest couple of versions. So that's why we say every 2 years we need to upgrade you. So if you're not on the support option where we baked in the upgrade into that SLA, then we're going to quote, we'll have a statement of work that we'll present to you for the upgrade.
Perfect. Yeah, great. Okay, so last one that I see right now, there it goes back to TS Print. So I'm glad you already touched on that, Jim. But the question is, so TS Print is the best option for printing through the server? No direct connection to printers?
You do have direct connections to printers, but we've found that the print, if you use the redirected printers and the paperless office, it does support paperless office. It just takes longer because, as most of you know, I mean, Sage prints everything to your local, uses your local driver, and we have found that TS Print circumvents some of that, and it speeds up the printing, sometimes twice as fast and sometimes even faster. So whenever you're doing any printing, you use the TS Print default, and it compresses it and brings it down. So you do not need TS Print, but our clients that use it love it because it does speed up the printing functionality, whether it be printing to your local machine or printing to the paperless. So even though you're doing a paperless print, you still pick TS Print default, and it just speeds up that functionality. And it's a very inexpensive option. It's not required, but it's highly recommended. But otherwise, you would use your redirected printers.
Great question. So that, I mean, we're about at time, and that was the majority of the questions that came through. Oh, there is a question about pricing. So Michael, that's a great question. And unfortunately, we can't get into that just yet. I believe that's a one-to-one kind of conversation. Is that correct, Eric and Jim?
Yeah, it's we would just get an idea of what resources you need, and then we'd price out the monthly fee. I can tell you at the very low end range, it might be $350, and then we've got stuff that's been up closer to $1,000. But in general, our hosting, our monthly pricing is much less than the competitors out there. So we're able to do it pretty efficiently. And part of that's because it is Sage Partner Cloud, and Sage is doing some of the heavy lifting for us.
Yes, perfect. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Thank you, Eric and Jim, for this quick walkthrough of SPC. We will definitely be in touch to get your thoughts and see if we can help get you to the cloud.